there's a lot of smoke there. There are some fires there. And I encourage our local media to address it. When there are protests at a school, you should probably ask why.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
I wanted to update folks a little bit. Last week, we brought attention to a new effort called Rocket City Reckoning. It's a website, rocketcityreckoning.com, and there are explosive allegations against Huntsville City Schools and its leadership. That includes allegations of sexual abuse and physical abuse being covered up, allegations of corruption and profiteering and misuse of funds, allegations of all kinds of mismanagement and the creation of a toxic and hostile work environment. It's pretty deep. There's a lot. There's a lot there. And a couple of updates. I did sit down and interview Dr. O'Brien, who is the main person behind Rocket City Reckoning. He is a local education professor. And if you didn't catch the segment last week, long story short, this is a man who volunteered. He volunteered to be on the school district's official desegregation advisory committee, which is part of a court order. And so he wanted to help out. He knew, there were some issues with the school system, and he was trying to help. And through that role, he continually uncovered more and more and more just disturbing incidents, disturbing evidence. And he, went to the district. He talked to the district's lawyers, the superintendent, board members. He went through all the proper channels, and it was clear they didn't want to work with him. He went to the local press, and the local press has pretty much ghosted him. And I think that's a sad reflection on our local press, frankly, because there's enough smoke there to be able to find some fires. I can't speak to 100% of the allegations on that website. I don't want to be irresponsible and do that. But what I can tell you is there's enough smoke there to be concerned about real fires. And it's serious enough to warrant attention. And so I am disappointed, though not surprised, that local media has yet to pick up on any of it. Just this past week, the Rocket City Reckoning folks held a protest at Chapman Middle School, actually pretty close to the studio here in Huntsville. And the biggest update to Huntsville City Schools, though, is that just yesterday evening, Christy Finley, the superintendent for the past 5 years, has announced her retirement at the end of the school year. It's interesting timing. Can we say why she retired necessarily? I don't know. Does it have anything to do with these allegations that are leaking out about her leadership and her school system? I don't know. Could just be a coincidence. I'll have more to say on that, frankly, with some time, because I did work on the other side of the table from Christy Finley for some time. I'm pretty familiar with her leadership, or lack thereof. And so, I probably will have a little something more formal to say about that and the state of the school system and what I hope to see moving forward in the future. As I said last week, on this show, we're always going to support public schools. We're always going to support public education, especially from those outside threats, the privatization crowd, the corporate school reform crowd, the charter and voucher and school choice crowd. We're always going to protect public education from them and advocate for public education. But we recognize public education has its flaws, right? And it has its inequities. And unfortunately, public schools have, like any institution that is run by humans, there are some bad humans inside them. There are bullies, there are crooks, there are narcissists, there are profiteers. And in too many of our school districts across the state and across the country, those people have gained power. They have worked their way up the ranks. They have stepped up the ladder and, with no concern for who they stepped on, moving up that ladder. And I think it's very important that folks are engaged in their local schools, in their local community school, the school district in their community, and in their state, because ultimately they are for the public. They're not for contractors to make a buck. They are not just, part of the PR machine of a city establishment. They're there to educate children, to serve our families and our community. They're supposed to be there to strengthen our democracy. So Huntsville City Schools is going through some changes now, with the superintendent announcing her retirement at the end of the year. And this is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for them to do better. Because for too long in that school district, it has been sabotaged from the inside out. And in 2016, we had another opportunity. And unfortunately, it was not as successful as it needed to be. In 2016, Casey Rudinsky resigned in disgrace amid scandal, and 2 board members, 2 former educators, 2 strong women were elected, and so the board was changed, but unfortunately it was 2 out of 5. That's a minority. And what happened was, when we should have had a cleaning of the house, when we should have had a clear regime change, and revitalized the school system from the bottom up in a democratic fashion that engaged the public, that did not happen. Not to the extent that it should have. And so these issues that have been simmering for, over a decade now continue. And that's why they have one of the worst teacher retention rates in the state. A city, the biggest city in the state, a city of such wealth and potential. Huntsville put a man on the moon, can't keep a teacher in the classroom. It's sad. And it could be better. And it should be better, because we all deserve better. So we'll see. Stay tuned. Stay tuned to the developments. We did speak with Jason from Rocket City Reckoning, and it was quite an interview, let me tell you. And it's going to take us a little bit of time, because we want to handle it appropriately. Unfortunately, it shouldn't be up to a couple of union guys with a talk show to do that kind of journalism. There are all these folks who are supposed to be in local media and in state media, who are supposed to be investigative journalists, and I would really encourage them to take a look, because there's a lot of allegations, and there are recordings, and there are videos, and there are eyewitness testimonies. And like I said, I can't vouch for everything, nor would I. That's not my place. But certainly, as someone who taught in the system for 3 years, and who spent over 5 years representing the employees in the system, I saw the dark underbelly of the system, and I'm pretty familiar with it. So, as I said, there's a lot of smoke there. There are some fires there. And I encourage our local media to address it. When there are protests at a school, you should probably ask why. I'm just saying. And so wanted to give folks that brief update. So stay tuned. Like I said, I encourage folks to check out Rocket City Reckoning on Facebook or rocketcityreckoning.com to see what you make of it and come to your own conclusions.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.